afternoon and thank you for having me. Mrs. Ross, Mrs. Dube, teachers, staff, parents, friends, and young ladies of Girls College, thank you for having me to grace your amazing day today. It's a privilege to be part of an amazing day such as this, and it's a privilege to see you all walk into a new lease of life for those who are leaving, and for those who are continuing on to continue into the path that will allow you to identify and appreciate the continent in which we live in. We are in a very special place. As much as we may have some jarring situations, we're in a very amazing place, and I'm testament to that. We look at the environment that we're in today, and most of you young ladies, I hope you do not take for granted the opportunities that you are privileged to have access to whilst you're at Girls College. Many would die to be in your position today, so you are part of the few lucky girls in this country. Given my time, and Les knows I'm not very good at time, so I'll try and keep it sweet and short. Because our hope is constant in thee, which is your core element of your logo, always know that you will thrive, you will excel, and through unity, you will pave a sustainable legacy. A legacy not just for yourself, not just for Girls College, but for the communities where you come from and where you belong. I stand before you today, same age as your anniversary, 35, so I'm still very young and still going. And so that I hope that gives you a bit of motivation to understand that the sky is not just the limit for you, but we are living in a community that is not bound by borders, nor is it bound by cultures. Globalization has played a very strong element in the way that we are going to be developing as a continent and as a country. I stand before you as a young ambassador for the African Union Peace and Security Commission, and the first ever Zimbabwean girl and African girl to attend the G20 this year and advise the heads of states of the G20 as a young global changer, mandated by the German presidency. Thank you. It is through my role with the G20 that I've been able to go and sit on a panel of experts and directly allow them to have a first understanding and appreciation of not just Zimbabwe, but as Africa. Growing up, I had a lot of opportunities that surrounded me. I grew up in a different era where we still had the milkman. Most of you don't understand that, but that's the Zimbabwe we grew up in. And as much as a lot has changed, I want you to understand that globalization and technology have become key elements in everything that we do. And as young girls and young women, we are the drivers of a lot of change in the society that we live in, and wherever we go to apply our skills, we should not take that for granted. When it comes to technology, it is opening up doors. It is allowing us to use it as a catalyst to develop communities, which is the core of everything that I do. When you leave for the leavers, I want you to be able to do a SWOT analysis on yourself. Now, for those of you who don't know what I mean, a SWOT analysis meaning your strengths, your weaknesses, look at the opportunities around you and look at the threats that don't allow you to be able to realize those opportunities. Don't concentrate on your strengths. Concentrate on your weaknesses, because you should be able to convert those into strengths. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that by looking at global opportunities and see where you fit in. Where do you fit in? What role do you play? And where do you start? Nothing starts at the top, everything starts from the bottom. My first job, age 16, when I moved to the UK, when my parents threw me into boarding against my will, was working in a factory that was packing roses from Zimbabwe for Marks and Spencer's. And I got there with a sense of entitlement, as most of us do coming from Zimbabwe, because we are cushioned. But I'm here to tell you firsthand that the thorns within my hands allowed me to realize that the world is not a cushion, it's full of thorns. But as young women and as young girls, it's how you get through those obstacles that makes everything worthwhile. I do not believe that anything happens by luck. It happens through hard work and perseverance. We are coming from an environment that is full of culture. Your parents have dedicated a lot for you to be here and to be privileged enough to be embodied with skills that others do not have. Now, what you're going to do when you go abroad is you're going to tap into that unique selling point that lies within you. Most of you don't know what you have, but it's there within you. You're going to meet a lot of friends, have a lot of exposure to different cultures and different ways of lives. But first and foremost, what makes you more important is your identity. You have to have an identity of who you are. That will allow you to thrive and to overcome a lot of obstacles. Number 2, the G20, for the first time in its history and its inception with the G7, this year was the year that they had Africa on the agenda. A lot of opportunities are lying for Africa as a whole, and not just Zimbabwe. But what makes you even more special is because you come from Zimbabwe. No one can take that away from you. No one can alter that from you unless you decide to have it altered. This stems from you having a strong identity. Being Zimbabwean makes you highly desirable, and it allows you to be able to have a unique selling point in the corporate world and in the entrepreneurial forum. Zimbabweans always make a plan. So even if you don't want to be in the corporate world, your resilience as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, as a game changer will allow you to sail through. And it's not about making money. So don't go into the corporate world and look to make money. Look to create impact, because impact is what drives the change, which will nurture you tomorrow as you get into your older age. Most of us, I'm sure we've got mobile phones. Mobile phones are a good thing and a bad thing in this era. You have to understand how you can leverage your skills using your mobile phone. That goes beyond the WhatsApps, and that goes beyond reading things like H-Metro, which I say do away with.
Amen.
Most young ladies, I want you to be able to walk away from this forum signing up to things like the Chairman's Network. You are not too young. I started signing up at 17. Sign up to the Chairman's Network. Sign up to different forums like YALI, which is run by the US State Department. Go to the British Council, volunteer your time. It's not always about making $1 million. It's about allowing yourself to get gainful skills and making use of your time from a young age. A woman who's able to embody qualities of resilience, identity, comfort goes a long way in the world. Material things are part of the elements that come with the comfort of hard work. And they're not an entitlement, nor are they handed over by anybody. So I hope most of you have taken away key skills and listened to what your teachers have taught you throughout the year and throughout the past years. And those who are remaining, I hope you understand that as much as you read the papers, you also need to interconnect yourselves with the international community. How are you going to do that? Read Forbes, read Newsweek, get into the Financial Gazette, get into the Financial Times, find out what's happening next door, find out what's happening in your environment. That allows you to expand your thought process. When your thought process is expanded, you are able to apply yourself in the right place at the right time. Do not be afraid to reach out to people who look like they're out of bound. Most of the people that I reached out to, I nagged them till I got my way and I got my voice heard. And sitting at the G20, I basically allowed them to understand that we do not look at Africa as a holistic place, but it needs an individualistic approach simply because we are individuals. We are not wholesome in character. And this has allowed them to be able to look at Africa in a different way. I'm mentoring a lot of young girls and a lot of youth on the Queen's Young Leaders program, which is a great privilege. And I'd like you to look at that. So what projects that you have which are sustainable, which allow you to create impact in communities, apply for that, please, next year. The starting age is 16. You apply for the Queen's Young Leaders program. We also have the Queen's Prize for Engineering, and that will allow you to tap into platforms that are considered out of bound when you are caught up in the jarring elements of the country we live in. I am available to mentor within that platform. Not only am I available to mentor within that platform, But the introduction and the base that we have given of Zimbabwean young girls gives you a stepping stone that no other African girl has. So it's time for you to take advantage of that. Today I come here and I look at a lot of young future leaders, executives, and a lot of people who are going to make a lot of change in the world. As the world changes and we get into this digital age that I have spoken about, you have to understand that whatever your ambition is it going in pace with what the world is doing? We may have future accountants. Accounting, if you didn't know, is one of the careers that's going to be obsolete in the next 2 to 3 years. The way that accounting is going to go is going to be digitalized. You'll be setting up your own applications which allow you to be able to do accounts for people using your fingerprint password. And I'm part of the team that is driving that in Silicon Valley. So you need to be able to move with the times and go beyond WhatsApp and chatting and giggling with your girls. And go more into finding out how you can be the accountant of tomorrow. How can you be the teacher of tomorrow? What languages do you need to learn that are the languages of tomorrow? How do you need to present yourself? What do colors mean when you go for interviews? Most of you are wearing your amazing blue blazer. If I told you what blue means when you're going for an interview, you probably wear it every day. If you wear blue when you're going for an international meeting, it shows that not only do you have commitment to your goals, it shows that you're hardworking, and that through everything you are doing, you will be committed and you will thrive within the company to give them a return on their investment. So as you sit here today, I am entrusting you to give Girls College a return on your parents' investment and theirs. You need to be a good investment, because when I look at you, I see mini hedge funds that are going to deliver big time. And I also want you to know that you need to keep your head up, have a value system, and walk upright and know that the world is your oyster. Don't think within the box, think without the box. Because I thought without the box, and my background is quite patchy. If I start on it, we would all be here all day, so I won't delve into that. But growing up, I was a very difficult child. This is the reason why I was shipped over to England at 16. And through all that I have learned and that I've managed to waffle through, I stand here a product of Zimbabwean values. I stand here a product of all the teachers who gave me a hiding here and there. I stand here a product of a Zimbabwean girl who understood that even if I go to Cambridge for 16 years, I have to come back to Zimbabwe and create impact in my homeland. Because regardless of what citizenship you will gain as you develop as professionals, you will always be Zimbabwean. And if you lose that, you have lost yourself. If you don't know that regardless of where you tread, you will always be viewed and always will be Zimbabwean. So as Zimbabweans and as young, brilliant young leaders at Girls College, I want you to thrive. I wish you all the luck. And I know you're going to be amazing in the future. There's a lot of opportunities that are going to come up, and I'll be making some time to come here for a week so we can spend some time together and do your SWOT analysis and be able to allow you to tap into opportunities that will allow you to thrive. Thank you very much for having me, and for the first time in my life, I've kept it sweet and short. So thank you.